There are some who look at the data and suggest that you're enjoying a competitive advantage. What do you say to that?
There's a lot of factors that go into a race and how well you do. And the biggest change for me is that I'm happy. And sophomore year, where I had my best times competing with the men, I was miserable. And so having that be lifted is incredibly relieving and allows me to put my all into training, into racing. Trans people don't transition for athletics. We transition to be happy and authentic and our true selves. Transitioning to get an advantage is not something that ever factors into our decisions.
You didn't transition to win more medals?
No.
Thomas quickly
Very strange thought process that Thomas is talking about here. That when she was a sophomore competing, she was miserable because even though that was her best times, according to her, she said that was her best times, that she wouldn't, I can understand you being miserable because you're sucking. Everybody's, kicking that ass. Everybody, you probably coming in last, I'm assuming, even though it's your best times. You can't compete, and you probably never, and this happens a lot. If we could just take an injection or something, hence why people do steroids and all these other performance enhancing drugs to get an edge. That's why it's banned. But in this case, this isn't banned regardless of you taking estrogen and hormones and things like that. Your body, there's no drug that you can take that's going to change the structure, your skeletal structure and all these other things, your shoulder blades. Just look at that picture that you see, how he's just towering over these three other women, as they call cisgender women, if you will. Of course you got a competitive advantage. Of course you'd be happy, but something, when we're talking about just being honest, right? Just being honest from a merit standpoint of you knowing that you have a competitive advantage, and no amount of hormones or estrogen that you take is going to be able to equal the playing field at all. And basically what you're doing, you're winning these medals knowing that that's the case. Something in your mind, if you were unhappy, what was the reason you were unhappy? Because you weren't winning? Because you weren't winning gold medals? Because you weren't placing? But as soon as you switch over, the tide completely changes, which you may be calling it as being prejudiced and all these other things, or some type of people aren't happy for you. But at the end of the day, it's just disingenuous. I don't care when we talk about biology and things like that, it just doesn't add up. I'm sorry. And you could understand why one would be frustrated. Now, people make jokes and things like that, that if they ever did this, hey, if you want equality, then so be it. From a lot of guys in this space, women want equality. Here's your equality. He's born a man. He's born a man. And he's just dominating. And now it's not equal. But I get that part. But if your happiness is just dependent on you winning gold medals, just consciously, you should have said, well, I'm going to go ahead and do the transition, but I'm not going to compete because I know that I'll have a competitive edge. You have these MMA fighters. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if it's in the WNBA or these other sports that they have going on, but you see MMA fighters, dudes that are born men, just completely demolishing women in the ring. There's a reason for that. But then again, I guess once again, I could see if they weren't separated. Women know that they're not equal to men in that aspect. Genetically different. Biologically different. You don't stand a chance. No question about it. It's a competitive advantage. Happiness doesn't come from achieving these things. If you would have gotten it, the question is, would you have transitioned if you would have been dominating as a male? How long have you wanted to do this? I guess is some of the questions. How long have you wanted to do this? And what was the catalyst? Were you just tired of getting beat? And you say, well, at least in this, I think if you were a winner, like a lot of us, somebody has to lose. Somebody has to come in second, third. That's just how it is. That's just how competitive sports are. Somebody has to lose. If your feelings are hurt, you have to work harder. Sometimes you may not genetically be able to compete at a certain level. We have our limits. That's all. That's what it is. That's what being a human is. Being a human is about limits. It's all being human is all about limits. I think this is super. The way this is going now, I mean, you might as well be on some Starship Troopers type stuff. Just make everything. Just commingle. Let's commingle everything. Let's just erase everything in terms of boy sports, female sports. Let's just make it one. And see who really qualifies. There's a reason why they do this. There's a reason why, because if we're blurring the lines with sexuality, gender, sex, we're blurring all these different lines. Let's just do it. And let's see who really qualifies. Let's see who really makes the team, and let's see who's just going to be to the wayside. Regardless of how much testosterone you may take as a woman or how much estrogen you may take as a man. Let's see what happens. I would love to see that. But let me know what you guys think about this whole situation. I think it's very interesting. I think that the questions she was asking him were spot on. Even though he's saying he's miserable, of course you were miserable. It's miserable. Anybody would be miserable losing. Terribly miserable. But let me know what you guys think and how you feel about this whole situation and what Thomas, the good buddy, his thoughts on that. Anyway, comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit me up on Calendly and Linktree to book that one-on-one with yours truly. Make sure you guys purchase all of my books and merch. If you haven't, the link is below. If you want to book a session with yours truly, hit me up on my website and Linktree. You'll get access to all of those. And like I said, purchase my books and merch. It helps to support the channel as well. Check me out on one of my live streams going live weekly. Look forward to fellowshipping with you guys there. Make sure you guys hit all notifications. Subscribe to all my backup channels too as well. And with that being said, much blessings and abundance to you all. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Peace be upon you all, the mercy and blessings of the Almighty, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out of here. Peace.
It's God's beat maker.
And I don't know. I will put a light in the sky for the G's that done turn memory from go. Blessings we send to the ghetto youth them.